This is a story of when I met a serial killer on the bus. I was working a construction job late in the city, but lived out in the suburbs. I had done so a couple times before, so I was used to being the only one on the last bus. I really didn't mind since it was a great chance to catch up on some much needed sleep. So it was unusual when the bus stopped. I looked out the window and it was nearly pitch black. There weren't any houses around, so we must have been on one of those random roads before a highway. Then, a man came aboard the bus. At a first glance, he was an older gentleman who was at least in his 50s. But other than that, I didn't pay much attention because there didn't seem to be anything unusual about him. I mean, I was a little curious as to what he was doing at this time of night, but ultimately, that was none of my business. So I put my AirPods back in as he made his way towards the back of the bus. Oddly enough, he chose to sit directly behind me. It was uncomfortable to say the least, so I contemplated moving seats, but I didn't want to be rude. Suddenly, I felt a tap on my shoulder. "Huh?" I asked, as I pulled out one of my AirPods.
I said, I like your boots.
The man repeated. "Oh, thank you."
I had a bunch of pairs exactly like 'em for years and years. A good working boot, you know?
Strange, because I didn't take them for the construction type. They definitely are. I use them like every day on the job.
And where's that at?
Turner Construction?
Ah, yes. You're building that big old thing up on East Avenue, ain't ya?
Yes, sir. It's gonna be one of the biggest in the city.
So it seems. I used to do construction too, you know. That was way back in the day. Probably when your mama was still just a toddler.
Oh yeah? With a company or freelance or...
My papa had a small construction and carpentry business. He hired me on when I was, maybe 15 or so. That was all the way back in 1962. We built houses mostly, a couple small apartment complexes. Nothing as big as what you're working on.
Did you like it?
Boy, you bet your ass I did. Working all day was a free gym membership. Ha! Plus, all the perks that came with it.
Perks?
Can you keep a secret, boy?
Yes, sir.
You ever play in a construction site as a child? When I was a little one, me and my buddies would sneak into houses being built and explore them. Maybe break a couple bottles here and there.
Yeah. My neighbors and I used to do that too when I was a kid. My house was probably one of the first built in our neighborhood, then the rest came later. We probably explored every house on the block before they were finished, when they were just wood skeletons. Maybe breaking a couple bottles too, to tell you the truth.
Of course you did. Who wouldn't? Given the opportunity. But that's all the childish stuff. The real perks came later in life when I was an adult.
Oh?
Oh yes, boy. Imagine this. The year is 1980 with no cell phones in sight. You talk up a pretty lady at the local bar and hit it off. You tell her about your new construction project, and she wants to go see it.
Uh-huh.
Well then you take her there. You and her, all alone, in a skeleton of a home, as you said.
How so?
Well, you don't just take a girlie down to the construction site at night just to get your diddly fiddled with. You take her for, you know.
No, I don't know.
For the easy disposal, boy.
Disposal?
Cut the girlie up, or do whatever your preference is. You do whatever you want to do with her, and you put her in the house. You bury her and your stained clothes under there too. Once the job's done, no one's ever gonna see that stuff again. It's gone. Eventually, brand new house is sitting on top of your deed. Well, this is my stop.
The only thing running through my mind was a memory. When I was a kid, no older than 6, my friends and I were playing hide and seek. I hid in the crawl space under my front porch, and when I was hiding, I found a pair of boots, half buried in the dirt. The exact same type of boots I was wearing then on the bus. The exact same type of boots we found in the crawl spaces of every house in our neighborhood.